Good evening. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. It's 2 weeks since the last Monday at 8 o'clock, so it's got to be Total Evercade Podcast time. Welcome everyone who is joining us live. Welcome everyone in the chat. You are all very, very, very welcome here. Blunners on the gift again. He's gifting out membership subs. Here we go. So before we have a look and see who's in the chat, we have got with us this evening, we've got Mr. Blunners.
Hello everyone. I've been gifting out at least one membership perk every live stream we do, and I don't have a choice. I literally just click it out there. But today I'm so glad because it has gone to the one and only Mr. Rob himself. So
yes,
I've really managed to get it.
Yeah, we have got Mr. Ryan.
Good evening. I'm a little bit disappointed that one of our celebrity fans didn't get the membership, because we seem to be inundated with either dead celebrities or, celebrities who haven't been famous for about the last 20 years. But it's always nice to see everyone in the chat. Indeed.
We did take a bet on Bruce Forsyth getting the gifted membership this evening, but yes, there we go. And of course, our guest of honor, always more than welcome, Mr. Sir Topton Hat, Mr. Derek. How are you doing, good sir?
Oh, nice to see you.
Nice.
Oh, how are you, my friend?
It's
You doing
great
good?
to be here on another exciting episode.
Yes, there is loads to talk about, loads of stuff to talk about, and a couple of things that we forgot to talk about last time. So yes, we will get straight into that. So let's scroll to the top because the chat is very busy. We have got Mr. Cabbageface Bricks. Hello, Mr. Cabbageface. How are we doing? We've got Toxif. Yes, how are we doing? Good sir. It's nice to see you. We have got Mr. Rob Taylor. Very, very welcome. Always good to see you. Mr. Skipkins, welcome. You are always welcome. Ziggy, wonderful to be at your desk in the USA. Don't get fired on our account, will you? Jeez. Mr. Shadow Gaming. Hello, good sir. It's nice to see you again. I hope you are keeping good. Lamney Pie. Hello, good sir. You are all very, very welcome this evening. So, yeah, let's get a crack-a-lacking. Jen Joke as well. Hello there. So starting off as we always do, we have got what have you been playing? So let's go to Mr. Blunners. What have you been playing?
So Evercade related. I still got to go back to Full Void. But that was on my Steam Deck. I played what have I been playing? Elias Awakening still. I've only had a quick go on that. Still a bit lost, trying to work out where to go next. Like just rummaging around, trying to think like, well, where haven't I been? Where can I go now? Trying to find them little different areas to open up. I've had a go on I went back to the game in a month, but it's not really for me, so I haven't bothered. I haven't really gone back to that one. Mm-hmm. And Demons of Asterberg, I've downloaded the demo of that, so I've been playing a bit of that before. Only a demo, just like the first level. And yes, so I think I'll be picking that one up. So pre-order will be going in for that as well.
Excellent. Lots of good stuff going on there. Let's go to Ryan next, and we'll get to Derek last because Derek's always got some good games on the go. So, Mr. Ryan, what have you been playing?
Derek puts us all to shame because he's usually completed about 5 games in between the 2-week interval. So, bearing in mind, Football Manager beta came out on Friday, so that's took up a lot of my time for the last few days. So I haven't put as much time into Evercade as I would have liked to, and it's probably going to be like that the coming weeks because Football Manager just takes over your life. If anyone plays that, you'll know. But I did put a poll in the Evercade Hangout, and I asked people to vote whether I should buy the Delphines collection or Sunsoft. And I think we had about 50 votes on it, and Sunsoft was your choice. So I picked that up because that was a cartridge I was missing. So yeah, I've played this. What I will say is Sunsoft love a slippy floor on their games. It's the gimmick is very, very slippery. You need some precision jumping on that game.
As the sun made it soft.
Yeah, you could say that. Well, it's like someone's just spilt their sun cream all over the floor because it's so sunny. Yeah, so the game that I did really like, I won't go into in great detail. So the only game I really spent a lot of time on was Aero Acrobat, which it's really tricky, but it's quite addictive. It's got a brilliant soundtrack on it, really, really good soundtrack. So that's always positive. And it reminds me of Zool. I don't know if anyone said that previously, but it's very similar to Zool, how you have to collect so many things, so you have to do so much to progress through the level, and you've got a time limit as well, which makes it even more tricky. So I think I made it onto the second level, and you've got to rescue a girl in that level, and I found her, but I didn't have the key. Then I had like a minute left, panicked, ran all the way back, but even with my save state, I didn't have enough time to do it. So I need to start that level again. Because even when you die and you get a continue, you go right back to World 1, Level 1. You don't even go back to Level 2, I don't think. So, yeah, it's a good game. Reminds me of Zool, and it's definitely one I'll go back to. The others I haven't really dedicated enough time to. But yeah, it's not a bad collection. But like I say, I keep forgetting the name. Aero the Acrobat, I do like. So yeah, I'll definitely see myself putting a lot of time into that, and also a lot of save states as well.
Excellent. Good stuff. Mr. Derek, what have you been playing?
Yeah, well, again, I've been sort of peppering that Sunsoft collection. Mr. Gimmick, of course, is taking up quite a sizable amount of time, but I'm really sort of getting into him now, and that adventure is unfolding, and there's so much to really enjoy, and especially take time to listen to the music. It's worth it if you put some headphones in, or if you're going to have it on the Evercade Versus, and just turn that music up and really drink in what an NES is actually capable of in the right hands, because that is really, really the crowning jewel of that game. Also, I've been given a lot of time to Master Blaster Boy again. I'm really enjoying that. I beat a snake boss. That was fantastic. Battle. I'm learning all the other power-ups now, aside from what I'd already used. And yeah, I mean, it's just a fantastic adventure, and it encourages you to explore. And I love that. I just love to sort of, I've got to see what's down every set of steps when you uncover it, and put my lantern on. And yeah, it's just fantastic time, that is. So yeah, Sunsoft's been where it's been at this week.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. I am holding off picking up many new cartridges just purely because November and December there's a lot, and I have pretty much most of the November and December stuff on pre-order, so I'm holding back. So I have been going back across Indie Heroes 2, which was what I had the last time, but I had been predominantly playing Tapeworm on that. So I have moved on to try, let's see if I can pronounce this. Is it Recnum? Soul's Adventure? I've been enjoying that quite a lot. It is it's good fun. It's like a really nice platformer, but I have also been going back over Ira, the Crow Maiden. I really like that. There is something about that game that is really addictive, and it's sort of, I guess aesthetically it reminds me a little bit of Joe and Matt Caveman Ninja. Might just be because it's she looks a little bit like Xena the Warrior Princess and that kind of thing, but there's something about that game that I really like. I like the controls. It's very responsive, and it's really accurate, which is a stupid thing to say because most games should be accurate, but I think in contrast to Ryan's slippery floor, I feel like when I jump in that, when I attack in that, it does it. So if I mess it up, it's like, oh, okay, I messed up. I don't feel quite so cheated by sort of landing and then just sort of skidding off the edge. So I'm really enjoying Indie Heroes 2. I'd probably slide it into my top 5 carts that I've got so far, maybe even into the top 3. It's really, really good. So I'm enjoying the hell out of all of those little games on that. So can't wait. But there is so much coming out over the next couple of months that I think we're going to be so spoiled for choice. Right. Latest news. Who is going to hit us with some news? Is there some news? Or are we sliding into the next topic?
I did think of some news earlier today, and I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. But there was something that I did think of. I know that Sean from Blaze was out in Portland in America the other day. So he was on a panel with I want to say Metal Jesus, John Riggs,
Metal Jesus
and John Hancock.
Yeah, that's it.
So they were out there promoting Super Pockets and Evercade out in America. So I've seen that. Also, I saw, this might have been the thing that I was thinking of, on the Evercade website. They do their top 5 collection, or top 5 games of a genre every now and again. I don't know if anyone saw this, and they've done the top 5 racing games on Evercade, and I was amazed to see that motorbike game on Intellivision 2 had made it into someone's top 5 racing games. I don't know who has done that list, but how on earth is that in there? That's like one of the worst games ever. Let alone, Anyway, that's my Evercade news. Before I go off on one about Intellivision 2 again, I shall leave it there.
Derek, any news that you're aware of? Any news that we can slide in before we jump into the evening's festivities?
No, I think pretty much that's covered it. Yeah, just a little foray into Portland, try and get a bit more exposure in the US, and of course, I think that's pretty much covered everything there. As Ryan said, the racing games did seem a bit of an unusual. They should have asked Nicholas Skippins. He's very, very good. He's in the chat and he likes his racing games. So I'm sure his top 5 would have been very interesting. But yeah, I mean, Top Racer, and of course for myself, obviously the Glago rally games would definitely have been in my my top 5.
They weren't in there, were they? They weren't even mentioned. I don't think.
They're the best. Right. They're the best out of anything. They're the best, isn't it? Definitely. And then obviously I think Top Racer 2 would have definitely been in there. Yeah.
See if Derek can answer this one. So,
do we know what other kart is getting released alongside Indie Heroes 3?
I don't think we do.
Yeah, the announcement will be shortly, but it's not yet. So you'll just have to sit tight, relax, keep your eyes peeled.
Chew bubblegum and wait for that announcement. Mr. Skipkins, he is there. Nick, just for shits and giggles, in the chat, type out your top racing games that are on the Evercade. I'd be interested to know what your top ones are.
Because I think they had like Stuntman. Is it a game called Stuntman, or they had a game that wasn't even a racing game in there, in the top 5, which amazed me. It had vehicles in it, but it wasn't a racing game. I don't know, Derek, if you know. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was just a bizarre list. Really was.
Yeah, no, I can't offhand now. No, I must admit, I can think of several really good ones, actually. I mean, even Motorsports Racer was a good one where you had to race the boats and the and whatnot. I mean, that was really good with the boat racing. I mean, it didn't have to be cars necessarily. I got a sort of a Micro Machines vibe off of that one, and I thought, that could have perhaps got in the top 5, but no.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Top 5 racing games. So you got Motorcycle, Burning Rubber. I think that's the one. That's I don't know what I'm going on about. Just ignore me. But the fact that Motocross in Television Collection 2 was in there is just I don't know.
Let's put a bit more time into it and let us know.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm going wrong. I'm not dedicating enough time to that horrible controlled motorbike game.
Oh dear.
I'll pop myself on mute now for the rest of the stream.
No, don't go for the rest of the stream, dude. We've got your opinions on some of this stuff coming in. Okay, so racing games aside, first topic is the Duke Nukem deep dive. We're not going on a deep dive, we're going deep into this one. So yes, Evercade released their video quite recently, which had their really deep dive into Duke Nukem 1 and 2, I believe it was. And that is showcasing some of the new graphics. It's showcasing everything that we've talked about on here, but just being able to see it run properly. So let's go with Derek first on this one. The Duke Nukem deep dive. What did you make?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a chance there for Evercade to plug the 2 remasters that they've put so much time into. Unfortunately, myself, I didn't really stand to gain anything from that. I felt that back in June they actually covered everything that appeared in this deep dive. I was hoping, because obviously we waited that little bit extra for the video to be completed, that I was going to actually learn some new bits about it that I didn't already know. But unfortunately, everything was pretty much there that I expected, from the soundtrack to being able to switch between the 2 versions, which is something that I'm most excited about. I must say, I really am excited, because I'm just as desperate to replay the originals as I am to experience the remasters and just see exactly what's different. So that in itself, I'm really looking forward to. So, certainly it's going to be a fantastic end to the year. And I just hope it lives up to all the expectations I've got in my mind right now.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I don't have any... Well, I never played the original Duke Nukem games. So for me, I'm not going to be able to notice any of the changes. I probably won't... Well, I won't know at all unless I sort of go back and maybe watch a few people play through it and... I guess try and familiarize myself with it a little bit, but I'm just hoping it runs smooth, because I know it sort of, when we're seeing it now, it was a little bit blocky, a little bit, and it was an old computer game. So I would love to see it running nice and silky smooth. That would be my main want from it. But I would, of all the people that I'm looking forward to hearing how they think about it, yours is the opinion that I am most intrigued by, Derek, because you do have that knowledge and that nostalgia for the original ones.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan, how do you feel about, or what's your take from the deep dive?
I'm still thinking about that Intellivision 2 cartridge, to be honest.
Stick him on mute. Stick him on mute.
No. I really like this, and I imagine it's going to be hard as nails, and you're going to have to be using your saves. Well, if it's a native game, is it going to even allow save states? I don't know. Is that anything we know? I
think of that.
I don't know. But if you look at it, it looks really hard. There's a lot of enemies around, and there's a lot of explosions, and but yeah, I think it looks really nice, and the fact it's going to be in widescreen on the VS is going to be really good, and it's not going to look all stretched and pixelated and like some old games do when you put them on a modern TV. But the thing I did notice from this, it says gameplay not final.
Not final, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one take I took away from this. With this being out next month now, isn't it? It's in November.
Yeah.
It's November. It's not far away. You would have thought they would have had final gameplay footage by now. And it was ready to go, cartridges ready to be manufactured and then being on their way over from wherever they're made in the next few weeks. But what I will say is people have been playing this at some of the conventions. I know Crazy Burger went to Blackpool Expo and he was hands-on with this, and he seems to have been impressed by it. So I imagine it is pretty much there. And it does look nice, and it's 2 games, Duke Nukem games, a bit different to what we've got on Evercade. But yeah, I just really hope there's not any delays with it or anything, because we're not far off November, and I would have expected maybe to see them in the hands of YouTubers by now. If we at least that should happen in the next couple of weeks, and if it doesn't, then I might start getting a little bit worried that these might be delayed.
Okay, Mr. Blunners, what was your take from it?
Gameplay not final. No, yeah, I can't. To be honest, I've forgotten I've pre-ordered both of these, and when it came back on, I was like, oh yes. So I actually really like the look of them. Obviously I played Duke Nukem back in the day, but I haven't played the GBA, the one we've just been watching, and I think it looks really good. I can't wait. Like, echoing Ryan, really, I just hope that I just hope it's really good. To be honest, I just hope it works well. There's no anything like that. 'Cause I just really, really want this to do well. I just want it to really get it some. Because you mean I think a lot of people might get these games with their Christmas from girlfriend as a stocking fillers kind of thing, and
I think Blunners has been possessed by Duke Nukem, by one of the bad guys. His voice has
Well,
gone.
can you not hear me?
We
No,
can.
You say,
You're a
You
little
got
bit.
my connection just come off table apparently, but yes, I'll leave it there.
I think we definitely got what you were saying. There was intermittent spurts of things that made sense there. We were all good.
We got the gist of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess, like I said, when I sort of threw in some 5 pence with Derek, I'm most excited to play the first two because I've never played them before, and some of that footage there when they were showing the new versions for 1 and 2, it did look nice and silky smooth. So that for me is a big tick in a box. So I can't wait just to play them and just try them. It's going to be a completely new platformer from a character that I'm actually quite familiar with, which is bizarre. Of course, I'm absolutely most excited about Duke Nukem 3D because that's what I remember the most of. That's what I played the most of. I'm just really looking forward to that being portable, because if you could go back and tell, 12, 13-year-old me, oh yeah, you're going to be able to play Duke Nukem 3D on the go at some point in my life, I just wouldn't have believed you. Like, of course you wouldn't. You had to have like a really nice PC at one point to be able to play that. So yeah, I'm most excited about that. I am excited to go back over the Cartridge 2 collection as well, Land of the Babes, because I've played them, but probably not since it came out. Remember thinking it was quite good fun and really cool, but that was at that point when there was just so much good stuff available on the PlayStation that I didn't go back and play too many games once I'd finished them. So I don't have a lot of memories of things like Land of the Babes. Never played the Game Boy Advance version, so that's going to be a completely new experience for me as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Like you said, I don't think I learned anything. I think I've learned most of my stuff about the Duke Nukem collections from you, Derek, actually. It's, that's pretty much where I've got loads of my information from. It's just, you telling us all this really cool stuff. So yeah, the video didn't necessarily tell me anything I didn't know, but it was nice to be able to see some of it working, some of it running in action. And it's just a nice little reminder for them to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is still coming out. This is how it looks. It's pretty cool. We're quite proud of it. Take a look. And again, like Ryan said, there's been a few people that have been able to play it at conventions. Mag was able to play it, I believe, at EGX. I think it was EGX. Very complimentary of it. Said it looked pretty good. Crazy Burger also, like you said, Ryan said it was pretty good. So there's a lot to like. I think it's as a little wet the whistle rather than a deep dive. Maybe they shouldn't have called it a deep dive, but as a little amuse bouche before the event comes. It was it was quite welcome. So I enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it. People in the chat seem to be sort of 50-50 on it. So yes, so like Steamhouse says there, these kind of deep dives help keep you excited. Absolutely, they do. Get the big announcement, the showcases. They're what really sort of really get people going, and then you just have these little smatterings throughout the year just to remind you of the ones that are coming out. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited as hell for the Duke Nukem stuff. Genuinely can't wait. I really hope it doesn't get delayed. If it does, it does. It's no biggie. It's not like we're short of games. I'm not going to lose sleep over it or throw my toys out the pram, but it would be nice if it arrived on time. That would be a lovely early Christmas gift if it did. So fingers crossed that we get it on time.
Well, it's not just those cartridges, is it? It's the Atomic Edition VSs as well. So I know we're going to get to that in a later topic, so I won't go into it now. But they're alongside it. as well as the Duke Nukem cartridges. But what I was going to say, El Sternhammer in the chat, he obviously makes those really cool Evercade stands. What would be cool is a Duke Nukem Evercade stand to go, or an Atomic Edition stand to go with the recent release. I don't know if that's something
Do it.
he could do. I'm sure that they would shift a few of those.
Mm.
I don't know. Can you hear me now? Do I sound better?
Yes, you sound perfect,
Yeah.
right, Blunners. How are we doing?
I don't know. I was plugged wired in. I don't know what happened there. The robots got me. So no, I was just saying that. I was really excited to like seeing that. I think I've forgotten that I'd pre-ordered them. So the fact that they're coming next month, I've got quite a lot of games to play. So hopefully the backlog is played, and then they'll be ready to play straight as soon as I get them. So yeah, can't wait.
I was dead pleased with just going off on a tangent, because we haven't done a tangent on this show for a while. So why not do a tangent quickly while I can? Just clicking on my orders, I was so surprised when I looked at actually from not picking up a new cart for quite a while to all of a sudden in November and December getting the dual cart for Demons of Asterberg, Duke Nukem Collections 1 and 2, Full Void. Yeah, there's a lot coming for me. That's like 4 cards. That's going to be more games than I've had most of the year on the Evercade.
Good Boy Galaxy looks good.
Do you know what? I haven't pre-ordered that yet, but I think I will, because it does look
good,
great. It looks really cool. I'm not overly fussed on the Witch game. I can't remember what that's called.
Witch and Whiz.
Witch and Whiz. Yeah,
it looks fine. But yeah, that Good Boy Galaxy just looks, the colours, man, that's what's selling that game to me. It looks cute as fuck. Dead happy, really can't wait for that. So maybe I'll stick that on the list as well. Like sod it, just go all in. Let's just get everything at the end of the year.
Yeah, Skipkins has played Duke.
WASD. Yes, that's what Mag got to play it out. My bad. Duke Nukem Advance was great. Duke Nukem 1 was a lot of fun. Got stuck on the first level of Duke Nukem 2. There we go. I'm Mr. Skipkins. I think we trust your opinion there. So as long as you think it was good, that's going to be a big tick for me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Duke Nukem. Anybody final thoughts before we slide on into the next topic?
Well, one of the quick things is when you watch that video is how seamlessly Duke goes up and down those ladders. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I encounter ladders in video games, if you can't go up at easy, it messes the whole game up. That's why it works so well with Donut Dodo. And I think with Duke as well, this has really sort of conquered that barrier. And if you look at any moment, whenever he goes up one, even off of that little aircraft, he's straight up it like a wizard. Amazing. Yep. So yeah, that's a magic moment. And I think another little hidden gem on there, of course, would be Duke Nukem Advance, because a lot of people will have missed out on that one, and there's a lot. That's why it still goes for like £60 plus on eBay. It's still very, very popular, Duke Nukem, and I think a lot of people are going to find a hidden gem there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that one. Excellent stuff. So let's slide on into the next topic, because some of the reviews are now starting to come out, and that is talking about the Super Pockets. So the first couple of reviews have started to come out. I think, Ryan, you said Retro Dodo have done theirs.
No, it was me.
Oh, was it you, Blunners? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, Blunners, Retro Dodo have done theirs. John Riggs has had a little discussion about it as well. What do people think? Let's slide over to Blunners this time first. What do you think from what you've seen?
Yeah, so what I've seen has been really positive, actually. As I was saying, the build quality looks good. They're all complementing the screen. There's only a couple of niggles on like what games they've selected to actually put on the device, but it really seems really positive at the minute. I'm just hoping if Ryan from Blaze is watching, me, Ollie, and Ryan would also like to try these out before they come out. But yeah, no. So they do look really good. Built, as I said, for the price of them, I think they're an easy pickup. So yeah, so far what I've seen on reviews, because obviously a lot of the YouTubers are now starting to get their reviews out now. They've all been really, really quite positive. And I know like people like Crazy Burger were talking about it last week. who have actually managed to go hands on. So yeah, I'm just a bit gutted. I was saying I really would like to see what it's like. I want to see before I buy it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Interesting. Mr. Ryan, what are your initial thoughts from these early reviews?
Yeah, not too. I've not been overexcited by them, but I've not pre-ordered one, so I'm not really interested in Super Pocket. I've got a Evercade handheld which plays all my cartridges, and I don't need another handheld to play Evercade cartridges. But even though I appreciate the Taito games look nice and the Capcom games look nice as well, and the screen's an upgrade to my OG Evercade that I have. So yeah, I've not really paid huge amounts of attention to the reviews. I didn't think. I know you mentioned Retro Dodo's review. I prefer the other guy on that channel. Is it Brandon? I don't know where he's gone. It was some new chap who was on there.
Yeah, so do I. I don't know
Nowhere
who that
near
guy
as
was.
charismatic, is he? Because
No.
it is Brandon. He's like proper Bristol chap, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's from Bristol. But he's really engaging. It's unfortunate he didn't do it. John Riggs' video is about 4.5 minutes long. So can you really call that a review, or is it just him showing a product that he's been given? I wouldn't really class that as a review. I'm looking forward to seeing someone like Crazy Burger's review, because he'll literally test every single cartridge, every single game, and make sure that everything's running as it should be.
And the
because
cloth.
yeah, and his Evercade cloth that he was overexcited about. That he got given at the convention. I did read somewhere that Cathedral doesn't work in the Super Pocket, so I don't know if IGN noticed that or another person who reviewed it. So Cathedral doesn't work, and they've said they're going to do a patch to get that running. But it's again a device that's not supposed to have updates, or already needs an update, and it's not got Wi-Fi, so it's going to be a bit of a pain in the backside to download and update a tool, plug in. Not everyone's got PC either, so that's a bit of a downside. And if that's not going to work, Donut Dodo's not going to work, because that's a native game, and there's another game as well that's native. I can't remember. Oh, Full Void is native as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've seen that running on Super Pocket, unless I've imagined that I've seen it running. I'm sure I've seen. No, or maybe that was on an EXP then that I've seen running.
Yeah, that was from them when they showed us their EXP, didn't they? When it was
Yeah,
running on there.
but I've been surprised though. People saying that the quality's decent, that the D-pad feels good, the buttons feel good. I was expecting people to say it felt cheap, but nobody said that. And I do actually prefer the menu system and the music when they scroll through the games to the current Evercade. I think it looks quite nice. Their little sort of scroll. It's gone back to the original Evercade menu. If you remember when it used to make that like bloop noise, when I think something like that when you used to move across. And I quite like that when you just move left and right. I think it's quite nice. In my mind, you don't need to move left, right, up, down, all over the place. So yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by the positivity. However, I look forward to when they're in more people's hands and see what their feelings are.
Okay, interesting. Mr. Derek, if you had a chance to catch up on some of these initial thoughts and reviews as well.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. People in the comment section, if you have had a go on Duke Nukem at one of these shows, have you actually experienced it on the Super Pocket? Because, of course, it's a remaster, so it's a type of sort of native port there. So I've seen it on an EXP myself, but I haven't actually experienced it on a Super Pocket. So have you? And let us know, because that would be quite interesting. Otherwise, yeah, as you say, there's been a slew of these kind of reviews coming out. I guess it depends on which ones people value. I tend to take the opinion of people from the Evercade community. I'm not really interested in some of these big YouTubers and whether they say, yes, it's amazing just because they've got it free. I want to know the ins and outs of it. So I want them to test more than the most latest cartridges in it. I want to know when you're playing games which require a bit more detail or a bit more thought, what they're like on it. So yeah, for me, as I say, I don't highly rate those type of reviews. I appreciate they reach the widest audience, and that's the reason it's done. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it certainly wouldn't sway my opinion as to whether I would purchase one or not. So yeah, it's much better if you hang on, and as I say, you hear from somebody like Crazy Burger, and he's tested the nth degree out of it, and then obviously then I can sort of make an assumed opinion. But yeah, for now, as I say, those type of reviews, yeah, they keep those sites occupied. But yeah, for people like myself, yeah, I've got my own opinions, and I haven't made them up yet. So yeah. There's still time to play, though. We've got less than a month, about 23 days, something like that, until launch. So, yeah, not very long.
Wow, that's not long at all. I didn't realize it was coming so quick. That's yeah, that is really soon, like really soon. Yeah, the thing that shocked me the most, actually, that like sort of similar to Ryan, is just the build quality, because they look cool. I don't really want to say that because I'm not really in the market for one, but the color scheme on them looks cool. Like I can't get around that. There's something appealing about the colors that they've gone for. They're very 90s looking colors, and they're very engaging colors. So when you've got something like that, it could go one of two ways for me. It could go down the route where you put it in your hand and you're like, yeah. Or you put it in your hand and actually you're like, oh, okay, no, it feels quite premium actually. And I think that was the comment that a few people have said, is that actually it does feel quite premium. It doesn't necessarily feel like a 50 quid device. It feels like a really nice, well-crafted device, and that is shocking for me. I don't know why I'm finding that so shocking, but there is that little part of me that just didn't think that they'd put that much effort into it. Maybe, I don't know. I think we've all said before that the price point, the £50 price point, is you could just get that on a whim for someone that who's sort of liked gaming back in the day, and they would be quite happy with it. And you don't necessarily have to put a premium effort into something like that. So that's nice to hear, because if that means that as we move forward down the line with other products, so maybe the Atomic VS, not that because I think the VS is actually quite well made as well. I like the feel of that. If that's where we're heading, nice quality products that feel good, they look good, then the sky's the limit with what we can expect in the future. The only thing I am slightly concerned about is the screen size, which is probably why it doesn't necessarily appeal to me. For some games, I mean, we can see Bubble Bobble work in there. For not Bubble Bobble, sorry. The puzzle,
Buster
is it
Move.
Puzzle Bobble? Buster Move, there we go. For seeing games like that, I think this is probably going to be pretty good, pretty perfect for that sort of thing.
Them limited editions look good though, don't they?
They do. They've screamed that old school Game Boy Color, do they not? The see-through Game Boy Color. So yeah, some of the games look like it's probably perfect for it, but I think when we start getting down to the compatibility with Evercade cartridges, that's for me where it actually starts to lose its appeal. The idea of playing Duke Nukem 3D on a screen that size doesn't overly appeal to me. It's cool that someone will be able to do that, but for me, that's not what if I was to get one, that wouldn't be what I would get it for. I would probably, I think it might have been Skipkins in the chat, I would probably get the Taito one because I don't think we'll get a cart of that. And it would be a nice thing to just sort of just to be able to play every now and then. But yeah, I don't think the product's for me, but I am very glad that it's getting good reviews. I'm glad that it feels great. I'm glad that the screen's great. I'm glad that the build quality is great, because there is a market for this sort of thing, clearly. And if it does well, that's great. It's more money into Blaze's pocket, which means hopefully more money put into other companies, other cartridges, and all this good stuff. So it's, in the end, the only people that win are us, really. So fingers crossed it does well. because like I said, I've rambled on for a little bit there, but I am genuinely surprised at how positive the reviews are.
Saying there's a lot in the chat about Tate mode. Very small.
Yeah, it does look very small. Yeah, I will admit. That is just one of the downsides of it, unfortunately. But that was always going to give. I mean, I would have selected slightly different games and plugged those holes. For myself, things like Rainbow Islands would have sold me the system. I absolutely love the game. And for me, it's a Taito masterpiece. But I certainly wouldn't have gone anywhere near take mode in either of those handhelds whatsoever. But I mean, it's a little learning curve for Blaze. And hopefully in future Super Pockets, they can take that under their belt and hopefully, think a little bit about perhaps not selecting those titles going forward.
That's a good question. What developer would make it be for you?
Have to try and think of a developer that could feasibly be on an Evercade and not like a fantasy one. I'm just.
I assume that we'll get an Intellivision Super Pocket at some point.
Do you know what? I don't think we will. They might make one specifically for you, Ryan. It'd just be a test.
Yeah, the Ryan Andrews Intellivision edition.
Yes. I'd buy that.
Yeah,
with his face on it.
Don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas.
I mean, I'm just sort of looking around my room. Like a Konami one would kind of be cool, but then I'd want things like Silent Hill.
Well, the Contras, they would go quite easy on there.
Yeah, Contras would go well.
Yeah, that would work incredibly well.
Another Ryan Andrews one sold.
You could do Technos. Technos would be cool because then you'd have like the Double Dragon games. You could probably put the Game Boy Double Dragon games on there as well, which we haven't got on any Evercade cartridge. So you could do like the Game Boy or Game Gear versions of those.
That would be really cool.
And isn't there a game like Double Dragon fighting, like a Street Fighter type game?
Yeah, there is. It's like it was on PlayStation and Neo Geo, I think.
Yeah, so you could maybe go down that route and make it like a Double Dragon exclusive one. That's what I'm going to go for.
I would I like your idea, Ryan, of actually having it be like a Game Boy stroke Game Gear type experience. So having a selection of games from studios and only have don't
I knew that's what I put it on there.
But only have the Game Boy ports or Game Gear ports of games from a certain studio, and just have 10 to 15 Game Boy games, but with the old black and white or black and green original DMG X colors type thing. That would be cool. I would really like that, like a nice backlit Game Boy experience or a nice backlit Game Gear experience. For certain type, I'd be into that. That could sway me to get one, because the screen size wouldn't bother me quite so much then, because that's about the size of a Game Boy screen or about the size of a Game Gear screen. So, well, probably a bit bigger than a Game Gear, but yeah, I'd be into that. That's a good call, Ryan. Yeah.
See, interesting. The ideas, man. See, if I was around, we wouldn't have intelligence.
The ideas, man.
This is why they need me in their meetings. I would have put a stop on that straight away.
But no, that was a good question. Nice. Okay, let's slide on a limited. Yes, I'd buy that.
Limited beard edition. There.
Oh, there you go. See.
Let's.
Oh yeah, I can see people lining up now. You even get a couple of hairs that are falling out during the day. Come with it, as a collector's item.
Oh man, just like slide it into a case that's like a little bit like a fuzzy felt type thing.
Yes, you get like a locket of like a locket of hair there. Yeah, and there's even one beard print that comes in the box. Yeah, nobody knows who's going to get it. So yeah,
limited edition.
So good. I'd totally be into that. Okay, let's slide into our next topic, which is what legacy cart should you buy? So it's very apparent that more carts are now entering the legacy line for Evercade. We talked about this on the last podcast. The Atari Collection 1, Collection 2, Lynx Collection 1 and 2, and Atari Arcade are going to be entering the Legacy era, end of December. Let's have a rundown of what carts we currently have in Legacy. So we've just had all the Atari ones there. Prior to that, someone's going to have to hit me on these because my
Oliver
memory
Twins.
is not. Yep.
Yeah, Oliver
Technos.
Twins, Technos, yeah,
Technos.
Namco 1 and 2,
Pico
Okay.
1.
Pico 1.
yeah, Pico 1, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a few carts in that Legacy now. So let's go around and see what people would think. Rather than picking one cart, if you've got a couple of carts that you think, actually, I'm not just going to say just one. There's a handful of carts that I would recommend. Let's have a couple. So let's start with Derek this time. What carts would you say people should go out and buy while they still can?
Ones I wouldn't panic about too much are like Atari Collection 1 that came with the original Evercade. There's going to be those are going to be out there the most. Same with the Namco ones, unless, of course, you're in the US, where it's packed with Data East, I think, instead of Namco there. So those I wouldn't worry about too much. They should be plentiful, and there should be enough around that really I don't see the price going up, certainly in the near future. Unless, of course, you want a factory sealed one for your collection, and then obviously that's different. For myself personally, what would I say to go out and grab? Well, I'm a massive fan of Dragon's View on Pico 1. I think that's a fantastic game, and certainly one I'd never explored until that collection. So, yeah, Pico 1 would definitely be one I say go out and get now in advance. And also grab yourself an Atari Lynx collection. It doesn't matter which one, whether it's one or two. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Crystal Mines, but it's not to say that there aren't some fantastic games on the other collection as well. But I mean, the Evercade's made for Atari Lynx, so go out there and treat yourself, and get exploring those games, because it's a real luxury, and it's not like you can get them anywhere else. So if you miss them on Evercade, what else are you going to do? You've got to fiddle around with emulation for hours and viruses and all that sort of problem. So definitely one of those two.
Yep, good shouts. Ryan, what are your thoughts? What do you think people should be running out there to get?
Well, if you see it cheap, obviously pick up Techno's home console. If you see that cheap anywhere, just grab it, because that goes for stupid money. But I got this one, Atari Lynx Collection 2. I think this is a really good collection. Lynx Collection 1 is good as well, but I like this one because you've got Blue Lightning, California Games, Chip Challenge, Slime World, Checkered Flag. So it's a really nice collection. So yeah, I would go and get this one. And like Sir Topahat said, it's a good way to play Lynx games without having to mess around with emulation. And what other video game system is releasing Atari Lynx games still? I've never known really any system still. I don't remember on PlayStation 1 the Atari Lynx collection, or PlayStation 2. I might be wrong on that, but I don't recall ever seeing it. So yeah, that's what I would go and grab. And they're good games to play, and you play them on the VS as well. And yeah.
Good stuff. Mr. Blunners, do you have a cart or a selection that you think people should run out and get before they disappear?
So yeah, kind of echo what the other guys are saying, but just because we have had them on our channel in the past, I would say the Oliver Twins as well. Great cart. Basically remember them games back in the day, being completely lost because I was a little kid and didn't really know what was going on. But, just to mix up a little bit, Oliver Twins for me. Plus, we did give away a signed copy, which I do go on about quite a lot.
We did. They were very generous with their time and very generous to sign a copy as well. That was a little highlight of our early start on YouTube. That I have to go back and rewatch that one. I did enjoy that. For me, I'm going to echo pretty much what you guys have said. I think the Oliver Twins would be a great one to pick up. The games are difficult if you're not necessarily familiar with some of the controls for the wonderful egg that is Dizzy. So that can take a little bit of getting used to, but it is worth getting used to because the games themselves are great fun. So Mr. Rob Taylor there, big fan of the Oliver Twins, big fan of that cartridge. So yeah, that's a definite. I am going to say Namco purely because I always wanted to play Splatterhouse 3, but was never able to pick up a cart because it's very expensive. Did it come out in Europe or was it America? I don't know. Someone in the chat or someone go on Google and have a look, because I remember playing Splatterhouse 2 a lot, but I don't remember playing 3. And then by the time 3 was on my radar, it was pretty hard to pick up for a price that I wouldn't think is eye-watering. So, and I know you can't play the Namco collection on the VS, but if you have a handheld, it is worth it, purely for the Splatterhouse games. There are other great games on there as well, of course, but being able to play the Splatterhouse games and really enjoy them like that as well. Yeah, I'm going to throw out the Oliver Twins and the Namco cart as well, because it's, can't go wrong with that. Worth a fortune yet? It's I don't think it's worth a fortune yet, but there is a possibility that it would become expensive if Technos is anything to sort of set your future clock by. It's always a possibility that these other carts, when they enter Legacy, could become a little bit pricey. So yeah, I wouldn't hang about on that one. Maybe.
Well, the likes of Oliver Twins and Namco have been Legacy for a year now.
Yeah,
and they still haven't sold out. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many new collectors come to Evercade, or whether the people who buy the majority of the carts are the ones who have been collecting for, since day one, and these older carts aren't really being picked up very regularly.
I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible if people are coming to it a few years down the line. Maybe they're not necessarily looking at the older elements. That post there from Mr. Goldtooth, that's also very possible. Are they trying to create a bit of FOMO over it, like, get these ones before they go? It's weird because I'm a fan and not a fan of the Legacy idea. I'm a fan of it because I think it creates a limited run of certain products for a couple of years, which means you're not going to be able to get it forever, which drives up the collectability of things. I am a collector. I do like things like that. I'm a sucker for it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's part of the game. So yeah, I don't know. Are they creating a bit of FOMO? I don't know. Does anybody else think they could be? Or
well, if they are, it's only worked with that Technos one, isn't it? It hasn't worked with any of the others because they're still available. So I don't know whether I don't think
strange, isn't it?
Technos just sold out very quickly, and I think FOMO was created with that collection. And Funstock even increased the price, if you remember. So it wasn't $17.99; they were selling it for like over £30.
Wow.
So they created a bit of FOMO there, but the others, the fact they haven't sold out, if they are trying to do it, in my opinion, it hasn't worked.
Interesting. Yeah, that Technos one does seem to be a little lightning in a bottle moment, but I think it could be recreated quite easily with some of the carts that people have mentioned today. So just have to see.
Yeah, not to mention, obviously, Nintendo Switch has got a Double Dragon collection coming out shortly, which features all those games pretty much. So I think that will take some of the heat out of the Technos collection. Then you might even see it start to tumble in, say, 6 months. So
yeah, that's a good
There's
shout as well.
Thousands out there, because with the initial run of the original Evercade, they sell 3,000 black original handhelds, and that was bundled with 10 cartridges.
Yep.
So there's going to be plenty out there. Then obviously you've got the people who brought the white 10 cartridge bundle that came with the coin originally. So say that was like 5,000 at an initial release, and then obviously there's all the other people who purchased it from elsewhere. So there's going to be thousands out there. So yeah, like Derek said, it could start coming down in price.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll keep our eye on it, though. We will come back to legacy carts, I think, a couple of times and just see what the market does for that. Okie dokie. So let's move on to our last topic for the closer of the evening, which is a crazy 2 months ahead. If you are, well, if you're watching this, the chances are you own an Evercade and are into the Evercade product, the Evercade brand. And yeah, for people that are into the system, that are into this product, the next couple of months for me are some of the busiest ones with some of the best games that we've seen. Should we say ever on the system? I don't know. Very possibly. There's a real chance that November and December are going to be the best months for Evercade collectors, Evercade fans, and gamers in general. I'll throw my 5 pence in throughout. So let's go to Mr. Blunners. Given what we've got coming out in the next couple of months, and I think, does it kick off with Full Void? Is that the first release over the next couple of months?
Well, they were trying to say with it was Delphine Sunsoft that just come out, and then you've got Home Computer Heroes Full Void on the 14th. Then you've got your Duke Nukems on the 28th of November, and then you've got Good Boy Galaxy and Demons of Asterberg, and the other one 15th of December. So you're looking at for 6, is that 8 cartridges in 2 months? So yeah.
Plus, don't forget 4 Super Pockets plus an Atomic Edition VS as well. So throw that into the equation.
Wow, yeah, I did forget that. So yeah, I think it could be. I think you're right, Ollie. I think it is. That's a lot coming out. But like people were saying back in the day, like when it first came out, you're getting a big number of games. So have they just split these cartridges to make it look more? But it is good. But it is good. It's good lineups coming out. Hopefully, it sells more units for them. But yeah, it's
actually it's 9 cartridges, Blunners. If you think 7 cartridges because the Full Void Special Edition.
Oh yeah.
So it's another variant, isn't it?
It is, and you know that awful collector element part of me, my brain. I've got the collector's edition. Thank God. I said this on the stream when we had the devs on. I was so gutted when it sold out, and then I went onto my Amazon cart and I was like, "Oh wow, I did order it! Thank God for that." But the collector in me, I'm gonna want that red one just to go into the lineup so that it's nice and red and not just red with one black sleeve. Yes, there's a high chance I'm going to end up buying that twice because, people know what they're doing with this type of shit. They know that these collectors are gonna double dip on this sort of thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's Full Void. The devs are great, so I'll more than happily. Oh, here we go. So we've got the whole lineup here. So let's run with November as opposed to the other 2, which were October. So yeah.
Home Computer Heroes, Full Void, and then Duke Nukems.
Wow. Mr. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the next 2 months?
I personally think it's going to be really hard for Blaze to get all this out before Christmas. I really hope I'm wrong, but there is so much stuff they've got coming out. It's all coming out all at the same time. It would have, in my opinion, been nice if this was spread out a bit more evenly throughout the year, because all of a sudden, if you've pre-ordered these on, say, Amazon, rather than, because I know Funstock, you might have paid for 3-4 months ago, so forget that. But if you've brought these on Amazon, you've potentially got 18, 36, 72 pounds worth of cartridges in November, if my maths are correct. And then you've got give or take a few pence, obviously, and then you've got if you've ordered a Super Pocket as well on top of that, so that's another £50 on top of it. So that's what we're up to now, £122.
Yeah, plus.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you creep into December and you've got another £36. So yeah, it's a lot to ask of people this close to Christmas. I know there's probably reasons why they haven't come out a bit more evenly throughout the year. But I would have liked, because we had quite a big gap at the start of the year, didn't we? I want to say we had like 3 or 4 months when nothing came out. So why they couldn't have just spread these out a little bit more evenly? Because Sunsoft and Delphine they only came out about 2 weeks ago as well. So it's a lot of expense for people on top of Christmas, unless, like I say, you've pre-ordered them from Funstock and then you've paid in advance and you've spread it out a little bit more evenly. So I guess there's the advantage of that. But yeah, I really do hope that they hit all their dates that they've said, and they get, especially like the Atomic Edition VS. I want to see in people's hands, and the Super Pockets for Christmas. If those, what cartridges are they? If Good Boy Galaxy and Witch and Wiz, Demons of Asterborg and Asterbros, if that slips into next year, I think people would accept that, but I just think people really want those Duke Nukem cartridges. People who have obviously pre-ordered the Super Pockets and the Atomic VS, they've put a lot of money up front with that, so I really hope that they are delivered before Christmas. And I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think they would be accepting if those other 2 cartridges did slip into January, sort of early February, because there's plenty to be playing at the moment. There's so much coming out. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Derek, what are your thoughts on the next couple of months?
Well, the next couple of months are going to be hectic. I guess my biggest concern is, and remember, we've met the Full Void guys. We know how much effort they've put into it. Demons of Asterberg and, of course, Asterbros. It is fantastic games. I think people are going to enjoy Good Boy Galaxy, but here's the clause. I think Duke Nukem arriving on the 28th is going to actually take steam out of all of those. So instead of them getting as much social media exposure and time like they usually would from people like myself, instead it's going to be all about that Duke Nukem and probably very little, if anything, about the others. So I think they're going to get lost in the cluster, and that's such a shame because they are fantastic games. But with others then coming out in February, will people actually go back and play them, or will they just sort of keep up with the wave that's going to be tsunamiing through and actually, not give those games quite as much time and attention as they otherwise would have got? So, I think that's going to be quite a difficult thing, because if you think on the 14th, we're going to have Full Void. Before you've even played it for a couple of weeks, here come those 2 massive Duke Nukems. You're going to be on them. You're going to have your friends over. You're going to have multiplayer. You're going to be loving these remasters, playing the originals. Demons of Asberg turns up. You're going to stack it on the side. You're still in the middle of, Duke Nukem 3D and the advanced versions, because you don't want to get started on other stuff and have 16 different games going at the same time. And remember, they're sort of Metroidvania style games with Demons of Asberg. So they take time. You've got to remember the controls, where you've gone, what you've done, how the story's unfolding. So, unfortunately, with them all in a massive cluster, I think they're going to lose some of that time and exposure they otherwise would have got, which is such a shame. But certainly a very, very busy 2 months coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a great deal more I can add to what you guys have already said. I think maybe what we can do then, maybe we will do as the Total Evercade podcast, is we will bring attention to those last couple of games of the year, and really maybe spend some time talking about them, because let's face it, everyone's going to talk about Duke Nukem. Of course we're going to talk about Duke Nukem, because it's Duke Nukem. Who the hell's not going to talk about that? But maybe what we'll do is we'll dedicate a little bit more time to those other carts as well, and sort of highlight how we're getting on with them, because that Demons of Asterberg, for me, I think when we talked about the showcase, when they showed that one off, that was one of the highlights for me. That was the one that really made me think, oh yeah, that's a bit of me, that game.
It's very good. I just want to say that it is very good. I played the first level.
Yeah,
it's very good. Yeah,
it's just that the art style, the animation, just everything about that game looks cool. So yeah, I think maybe we will make a concerted effort to make sure that we do talk about those carts specifically, maybe where people were sort of still, like you say, still going on with Duke Nukem. Yes, we will obviously discuss that and talk about that a lot, but yeah, we'll make some effort for Demons of Asterberg and Good Boy Galaxy and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I totally agree with what everyone has said. It's going to be a busy few months. I think Derek's word hectic is the best way to describe it. It's yeah, it is gonna be busy.
I started this comment in the chat because we didn't even touch on this. Royal Mail's annual strikes.
Yeah.
And Christmas post in general is absolutely crazy in the UK. So yeah, that could frustrate people when it's going to be out of fund stocks control, for example. They've sent it and you're going to be waiting, longer than what you should be to receive it because there's strikes on, or there's just the usual Christmas sort of mail problems because there's so much coming.
Yeah. I mean, if they go down the route of using couriers and stuff, please don't use Every. Just use another one. Let's.
Oh, the everyman who delivered to me is great. Turns
Yeah,
up
he's
in
great.
the van.
Eastleigh one is.
Yeah,
Eastleigh one's alright, mate.
the one with the van with like the dog. He used to be like a dog
Yeah.
groomer or something. Now he does he does every delivery.
No,
I don't know how he's gone from that to that, but there you go.
Other local couriers are available.
Yes, of course they are. We are not sponsored or affiliated with any couriers in general. What were Every before? What was their name before?
Yodel.
Hermes.
Yodel. Oh,
Hermes.
Hermes.
Yodel, Hermes.
Oh, God.
You might find it behind the back of a bin or in a bin or
it's
thrown
in your
over your
safe
fence.
It's in your safe place, which was usually, with them in their van as they drove off home with your product, or you just watch them drop kick it over your back fence.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. We've always run with allegedly. But yeah, no, that's a good shout. Yeah, having the postal strikes could definitely affect that all as well. But yeah, like Ryan says, I really want to make sure that hardware is out for people more than anything. I want to make sure that hardware is out for people. I don't have an Atomic version, and I certainly don't have a Super Pocket pre-ordered. But I would much prefer people got those over the cartridges that I'm excited for, because who doesn't want to have a new console, regardless of whether it's a handheld or a VS? You're going to want that. And yes, exactly that comment, Gold Tooth.
But if there are delays, one thing I will say is that we'll do a Christmas special. We'll make light of the situation, and we'll try our best to cheer everyone up with some light-hearted humour for the Christmas period. And we're trying to think of topics that are a bit more less serious than what we usually talk about. So we can promise that there won't be. We will do something for Christmas. I know it won't make up for if there is a delay, but we will bring the Christmas spirit regardless.
We will. And it's, to be fair to Blaze and to be fair to the Evercade brand and everything that they do, they're always fairly upfront about the delays. There's no hiding or pretending that it's not happening. They are generally pretty open with it. Yes, it's irritating, and yes, people get frustrated by it, but it's like anything, isn't it? You want to be told the truth when it's happening, and you just kind of make do and figure it out. We will get these things eventually. So yeah, but yes, agree, Ryan. Let's bring the Christmas cheer for the end of the year. Oh, that rhymed.
Someone's will we can we drink? I think everyone can have a drink at the end of the year.
Oh, mate, I think what we should aim to do is have a couple of drinks before we stream and drink while we stream. We'll put it in like a little brown paper bag like the Americans do, just so that we won't lose what little monetization that we do get. That whole 2p for the stream would definitely be wasted if we're if we're there with a.
Or maybe we could put a link. We could put a link out and get one of you guys in the comments to join us for the last.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just get people on from the comments just to dip in
from the comments who've been with us all year. Yeah, we'll send them a link. That'll put them into a green screen, and we can. They can join us from their phones.
Got to be done. Right, before we disappear, we do have a few starred comments, so let's go to those. So the first one, let's get rid of that banner from ticking around first. Okay, first one from Mr. Taylor. Dear Derek and panel, seems to be a lot of people selling Evercade collection. Why do you think this is? Is Evercade losing touch? I don't know is the short answer. I don't think so. I think if anything, they're probably more in touch now than they ever have been. I think maybe from me personally, I think maybe some people are just sort of over that honeymoon period with the product and kind of liked it, and they're now maybe not quite as into it as they thought they were, and are just looking to try and just palm it off or part ways with it, so they can put it into other collections, I guess, or a new system or something like that. But yeah, I think they've probably actually never been more in touch than they have this year. Actually, this has been a good year for Evercade. I don't know what everybody else thinks, Mr. Derek.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any console. Whenever you first get it, you're in love with it, aren't you? And you think, oh, I'll never part with this console. It's fantastic. But I mean, 4 years down the line, yeah, there's bound to be people that have they've sort of gone past the Evercade now, and perhaps they're looking on to something else, whether it's an Xbox X or a Steam Deck, things like that. So yeah, they'll naturally progression on to something else, and that's fair enough, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think a lot of people that came into the Evercade were expecting the big collections on cartridge. So they're expecting the Capcoms, the Segas, the Konamis, the Taitos. And they're slowly sort of coming to the realization that actually that probably isn't going to happen. And if that's a big deal for you, and it might be, to a lot of people. I mean, I love my indie gaming. So, yeah, for me, that's a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, if arcade and things like that are something you specifically wanted, and those licenses just aren't coming, then yeah, I totally understand. You're going to want to move along and perhaps get yourself a Switch and buy the Taito collections that are on there and things like that. So yeah, I can understand that, and yeah, certainly no hard feelings. And if they ever want to return or grab themselves a Super Pocket and a couple of cartridges down the line and re-come into the community, then of course they're welcome to do so.
Well said, Derek. I like that very much.
Well said.
Ryan or Mr. Blunners, do you guys have anything you can add to that?
Okay, I think Derek summed it up perfectly.
Not really. Yeah.
Happy days. Okay, so next one. This is the top 5 racing games from Mr. Skipkins, which we asked him to do at the start. So top 5 racing games, not in any order. Got World Rally 2, Pit Stop 2, Checkered Flag, Top Racer, and Top Racer 2.
Great
Top
list.
Top Racer, that is the one that is Top Gear in the UK, isn't it? Yeah. Hard game, I found that, but very, very good. I was genuinely surprised. I didn't realize it was on the cartridge when I got the Evercade, because I do like that racer on the Super Nintendo. So yeah, seeing that on there was like, oh, this is great. Again, took a little while to get back into, but great picks there, Mr. Skipkins. Good stuff. Another one from Mr. Taylor. If more pockets come out, does that mean less publishers for carts? What do we think?
I guess see how next year pans out. I think it's a little bit too early to tell at the moment. Obviously, if we get into next year and there's, I don't know, 6 Super Pockets come out, and there's Konami and Technos, and and then on cartridge we're getting in television free, then yeah, I think we can question it. But until then, we just don't know. That's what I would say, unless anyone else has got a different opinion. I don't think we can really answer.
No, I think that's pretty good, unless Derek has any inside knowledge. Yeah, I think that just seeing how it pans out and seeing what comes, I think that's all we can do.
You can do, really.
Yep. We have one from the legend himself, Mr. Goldtooth. Dear Derek, what does he think about CEX stocking Evercade now? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, more the merrier, to be honest. Yeah, if they can get hold of some stocks and you can buy it a little bit cheaper than Fleabay, then all the better. Yeah, I mean, you can go on there, you can buy online, you can go into store and pick up, or if like mine, I think you can just go in and tell them a game and they'll get hold of it from another branch and bring it in for you. Then yeah, I mean, that's great. And also, if people want to trade in cartridges, perhaps some of their older ones they've had enough of now, to fund new ones, then yeah, I mean, that'll give somebody else a chance to pick them up as well. So So yeah, I guess I'm for it. I don't know. I don't rate a lot of the prices they do trade in, but actually on the Evercade ones, they aren't too bad. So I can't really knock it.
I'm just looking now because I was like, I wonder what they are selling for. Because normally this is CEX's best business model is they're so upfront with, we're going to shaft you and we're going to sell it for a massively inflated price, and people just willingly do it. I've done it. They're just you just go with it. It's a great business model, really.
I guess my biggest concern is obviously we have got quite a lot of cartridges which are starting to fail. These might be traded in. You might buy it. It might work, for 6 months. They give a 24-month guarantee, I gather. But how good are they at honoring that? I once purchased a game myself, and when I got about halfway through, it didn't work anymore. So, and did they want to give a refund? Did they heck? But in the end, I traded it back in on them when it went higher, and so they bought that one back off me. So that was all right. But I just sometimes worry, and especially with the EXPs and the batteries, if somebody's traded it in, it's got a dodgy battery, are they going to understand and honor that? So hopefully we'll get lots of good stories coming through on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Because looking at their prices in general, if you got Technos one from them, that's £60 that they sell it for, which is still a lot of money for Technos, considering that was a 15 quid cart. But everything else is they sell for £15. And I appreciate it's second hand, but if you're in store and you can see the product, see the box, see the cartridge, possibly even ask them if they've got an Evercade that they could put it in for you just to check that it works fine. I mean, most CEX staff are, or take your own. I mean, most CEX staff are quite young, and they're more than happy to kind of help out as long as you don't talk to them like they're a piece of crap on the floor. They're generally pretty happy to chat to you about stuff. So interesting. Okay, we have one from Gamertron. Do you
sorry,
go on. That's all right, mate, no worries. Gamertron, here we go. Do you think players should aim to release hardware at the early part of the year? I think being a small company, the struggle to compete with holiday releases with the likes of Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo. Possibly. I mean, that would kind of be a cool business model, wouldn't it? Start the year with the hardware, and then bring out the games throughout the year. And it means less panic, I guess, at the end of the year for things like. But I guess if you've got something cool like Duke Nukem coming out, and you want to do like a little tie-in console for that, then it's inevitable, isn't it? You're never going to be able to just stick to that. But I don't think that's a terrible idea. Don't know if anybody else
There's probably
thinks.
research out there, isn't there, that shows that people buy these things in the build up to Christmas, and that's probably why they do it. If you release the Atomic Edition VS in February, for example, are they going to shift as many? But if they market it to come out in November, and then you can say to a family member or partner, "Oh, look, this is going to come out. Can you get me this for Christmas?" And then it all sort of lines up, doesn't it? So, yeah, I do think they need to spread out the cartridges though throughout the year a bit better. Because it does feel like this is just crazy at the moment. We're just getting so many coming out all at the same time.
Definitely
intriguing. Anybody else for anything else on that one?
Well, I mean, Nintendo traditionally release things either Easter or September. I think for the main reason being, obviously, people are still trying to pay off their Christmas presents in the early part of the year. So you've got to be very careful there with hardware. And obviously, the later end of the year, people have got Christmas, but it's a big expense. And if you sort of aim it around those two areas, you're not really hitting the summer holidays either. And there's usually a chance that if what you're selling is a big enough pull. But I think with the numbers Evercade's doing at the moment, I don't really think it matters too much where they release it, because they're going to sell the same amount regardless of where they land it at the moment.
Interesting. Okay, two more. Next one from Mr. Dave Lister. Welcome, Dave. Do we think the rate of newcomers to Evercade has ground to a halt? You don't often see new names in the groups. Podcast viewing figures hover around the same levels. Has it become a limited market? I don't know. The Evercade Hangout is still growing. We're still getting new people joining that group fairly regularly.
But I find they're just disgruntled people from the official group who can't post what they want to post, so they come across to us. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I don't see many people who post for. I've recently brought an Evercade, and I've got one cartridge. What one shall I buy to increase my collection? They're quite rare. I think someone has posted that fairly recently, though. But I get what Dave Lister's saying. The viewing figures do hover around the same. Yeah, I guess there's an American market as well. So the time we do this, a lot of people in America are going to be at work. So we're reliant on people in the UK. But yeah, I do think that the newcomers has halted, but the Duke Nukem collection will increase that. I'm sure that will bring new. Well, I'd like to hope it will bring new people to the system, and it would be nice to see some new faces and new people commenting on the device, because it does feel like it's been the same people around for the last sort of 3-4 years, really. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because it's a nice community, but it's always nice to have fresh impetus and fresh ideas and fresh thoughts on things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's like Lamney says there. It is a bit of a niche product, because if like my son, for instance, I always use him as a good example. It's not going to be for him. It involves having a physical thing that you're going to need to engage with. So he's got no nostalgia for cartridge gaming. So is it going to speak to him? Probably not. Whereas some of our friends who maybe aren't as big into gaming but do have a little bit of nostalgia for cartridge gaming, like one of my friends messaged me the other day and went, "Oh, these are cool," and just sent me that link for a Super Pocket, and I was like, "Dude, this is like, I've told you before, I do a podcast on this every 2 weeks. Like, come listen, come hang out, and you can hear about all the stuff that's coming out for it." So for him, it's like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, he's someone that doesn't have necessarily the sort of the space for stuff. So to have somebody be quite into that as an idea, that's so I think it has potential to grow, and it does grow, but because of the type of product it is, it's never going to be Switch figures and PlayStation figures. It's just never going to be that. But I think the people that are into it do find it. But yeah, it is a bit slow. I do agree.
I don't know what you find on, because I'm not on Twitter, or X as it's now called, Derek. I don't know if you've found that you're still getting new people, or are you finding it's still a lot of the same people who are around?
Well, if I take Blaze's numbers on Twitter, I haven't really seen them grow very much at all in the last 12 months. I pick up more people out of interest for how I tweet, rather than probably the product I'm talking about. I even had people comment tonight that they were coming to watch the podcast because of me, not because they had an Evercade. So
Amazing.
That's fantastic, and thanks for joining us. But I think the numbers, if you're into this sort of thing, you probably already are. And there's probably a few people still sloping around. I saw a few people who said they were thinking of getting a Super Pocket to play the Duke Nukems. So that maybe they'll explore other cartridges afterwards. They seem to suggest otherwise, but you never know. But I don't know how many people it's actually brought. There are things Blaze could do to sort of build the community. But at the moment, I just don't feel they're quite hitting that point to bring mass interest to the market. So they've got a little bit of work to do there, but you never know. But at the moment, I don't feel it's, I feel it's for every 2 people you lose, you gain 1. So
I'd agree.
Yeah.
And final one from Mr. Goldtooth. RGR, would you consider your own sell swap live streams? Probably not. There are streams out there that cater to that. It's a difficult one to police. It's a difficult one. Yeah, For me personally, no, I don't think so. If people want to buy and sell in the group between them, that's totally cool. We're totally fine for people if they want to sell their collections or sell things in the various groups. We have it in the Evercade Hangout, we have it in RGR every now and then. That's no problem at all. So if you do have stuff that you're looking to part ways with, do join said groups and put your wares up there. The only thing we ever say to people is only deal in PayPal if you can. Send it goods and services, because then you are protected both as a buyer and as a seller. Don't do any bank transfers, don't do any of that kind of stuff, because there's a high chance you could get stung for it. So yeah, there's for me, there's too many factors to consider with a sell swap live stream.
And always get someone to show you the device working as well, because obviously unfortunately there's been battery issues with the EXP and things. So do get them to show you, maybe holding up the day's newspaper with the EXP next to them, and then they can show you that it's a recent video, rather than one from a few weeks ago. I stole that one off Alan Partridge, I think. But yeah, I would say that just get them to send you the device actually working, because if you're buying it second hand, I don't think you've got any comeback to Evercade, because they're only replaced something that's come from one of the main retailers. So yeah, bear that in mind as well. It's a risk you run, basically buying it from someone second hand. You might get it cheaper, but if it breaks within a week, you ain't getting it replaced.
There's too many factors for me. Too many factors.
But if it's like the coffee cup or a coin or something for Evercade, then that's fine. That's not gonna. Well, you would expect that to be fairly solid.
Well, yes, of course you would. Of course you would. There we are. We have come to the end of episode 18. There's been a lot to talk about there, so we have gone over a little bit time-wise than we normally do. But yeah, chaps, thanks ever so much for the discussions tonight. It's been a lot of fun, as it always is. We will have even more good stuff to talk about in a couple of weeks' time. There's like we say, the next couple of months is just going to be absolutely slammed. There's going to be so much to talk about, so much good stuff coming out as we build up to Christmas, and hopefully we'll have something pretty cool to be doing on the Christmas special. Hopefully more will come, but yes, we will sort of talk about that as and when.
And just before we go, I did run a poll in the chat this evening.
Okay.
And I put, will the Duke Nukem cards be released on time? And just simple yes or no. And it's currently got 25 votes and 48% for yes and 52% for no. So it's basically just everywhere.
Brexit numbers, that is.
Yeah.
That is Brexit numbers. That is
yeah,
close.
It was literally 50-50 until I went to speak, and then someone's just clicked on no. So yeah, it's basically it's in the middle, isn't it? No, some people think it will. Some
That's
people
one of them.
So yeah, that's what you want.
No worries. Well, thank you, chaps, for a very enjoyable evening. It's always wonderful to be talking to you guys. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for keeping that a lively and fun place to be this evening. We really appreciate those of you that do manage to tune in live. It means a great deal to us. Do hit that little thumbs up button just so that we know that you've been here. And if you are new to the channel, or you are finding this video through the wonderful YouTube algorithm, do consider hitting that subscribe button, because that helps us out a ton. Continue some of the discussions in the chat like you always do in the comments box. There's been lots to talk about. We're always interested to hear what your thoughts are afterwards as well. So yeah, keep it coming, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. So thank you, everyone, and good evening.